A story. Okay, here's a story. Let's see, what's the story over here? Okay, this is a story about I think it's Rabbi Yisrael of Ropshitz, I think. So once a carriage draws up to there was Rabbi Yisrael of Ropshitz. I think he was a very holy man, and people used to come to him from all over the place to get blessings and advice. As one day there pulls up this big, huge carriage in front of his house. I'm sorry. That was the end of the story. Here we go. One day comes to his house, to his home. This poor lady, she's her clothes are all dirty, like she's been traveling a long time. She has an old suitcase, and she says, "Can I speak to the Rebbe?" So the Rebbe's wife comes to her, says, "Who are you?" She says, "I'm a family of the Rebbe. Remember, your daughter, your sister, your this or that." She's like a third cousin or something like that. She says, "I need help. My daughter's about to get married, and she's ill. And the fact is, I'm also not very healthy. And who's going to get married to my daughter? She hasn't got it, and she's not healthy, and she this and I also I need money for I've tried to do it without it. I can't work. I can't get any jobs. Can the Rebbe please help me?" So she said, "Okay." She said, I'll arrange for you and sit down and drink a cup of tea. I'll arrange for you an audience with the Rebbe. Sure enough, she goes into the Rebbe. She tells the Rebbe the problems. She says, "Rebbe, I need 5,000 rubles. So the Rebbe looks up at her and says, 5,000 rubles? What you need is kadachas. Now, kadachas means like high fever. High fever. Kadachas, a person would shake. It was kodeach b'chom. It says a high fever. So she looks at the Rebbe. Kadach, what? Says, that's what you need, kadachas. That's like a curse. Telling a person you should be sick, you should get a disease. So she looks at the Rebbe, she starts crying. Rebbe, she can't. She's got so much troubles as it is, and the Rebbe just cursed her. She said she should have a high fever. So she goes outside. The Rebbe's wife is waiting out there. Says, "What's wrong?" She said, "Oh, the Rebbe," she can't even talk. So the Rebbe's wife says, "Listen, just calm down. Here, have something to eat. I'll give you a bed, sleep for a while, and rest up, and I'll talk to my husband about this." So it ends up that her husband was very, very busy. And this lady, she washes up and she can't rest. She comes, sits down. She's eating drinking another cup of tea. All of a sudden, the Rebbe comes out from his room, and he looks at her, this lady, and she looks up at him like she doesn't know what to say. "Rebbe, why did you curse me?" And he said, "That's right. What you need is kadachas." His wife hears this. It's kadachas. How could you say a thing like that for the lady? The lady, she's already getting used to it. She's getting all these curses. So she cries, but not as much as the first time. And so the Rebbe's wife calms her down and says, "Listen, there's probably something deeper inside of this. Please don't." She's crying and weeping and crying. She doesn't know what to do. Who is she going to turn to? The Rebbe was her last hope. Now the Rebbe cursed her. So the Rebbe's wife says to this lady, this poor lady, "Listen, I'll find you a room and you'll rest up, and we'll wait. We'll see what's going to happen." People are coming in to see the Rebbe from all over. One day, this big carriage stops in front of the Rebbe's house, and there comes out a servant, and the driver also ties up the horses, and he also gets out and he opens up the door, and he gets this sort of wheelchair. And the servant helps this old lady comes out. She's all bent over and she's all shaking, and sits her down in this wheelchair or whatever, and goes up to one of the Chassidim and says, "Tell me, this is the Rebbe of Ropshitz? Yes. Does he see Gentiles also?" I said, "I think so. I don't think there's any." "Wait, I'll ask." So he goes and he asks, this Chassid goes and asks the Rebbe's secretary. The Rebbe secretary asked the Rebbe. The Rebbe said, "Yeah, she can come in and see me." So they wheel her in to the Rebbe, and she's just sitting there, and she's all shaking. And she says, "Rebbe, I've tried everything. I've given money to doctors. I've given money to all sorts of people and nothing has helped. I don't know what to do. I'm so sick. I just, all the time, I have this, sometimes cold, sometimes hot. My whole body is shaking. It's hard for me to breathe. My life is just not life. I used to be a healthy woman. I used to walk around, look at me now. So the Rebbe said, well, what type of a disease do you have? What's wrong? Did you ever go to the doctor? Oh, yes, I did. Here's my doctor's reports. Here, the Rebbe says over here, the disease, what is the disease? It's called kadachat. The Rebbe says, oh, kadachas, that's what you've got, kadachas. She says, yes, I do. The Rebbe said, okay, if you want to be healed, it'll cost you 5,000 rubles. She said, Rebbe, if you heal me, I'll give you 10,000. So the Rebbe said, just one moment. He puts his head down. He goes over to the window, opens up the window, looks outside, sits back down and says to the lady, how do you feel now? She said, I don't know if there's any change. He said, go to the window and see. I can't get up. Try. She gets up. She says, well, I feel good. I feel healthy. This is amazing. I feel all right. And she starts dancing. She's so happy. Here's 10,000 rubles. She leaves. She's been cured of kadachas. The Rebbe calls his wife in. He says, tell that lady to come in. The lady that was my relative comes in. He says, here, for your daughter's wedding, 10,000 rubles. I said, oh, thank you, Rubles. Rebbe says, see, that's what I meant. What you needed was kadachat. Kadachat. That he was referring to the kadachat of this old lady that came in. That's what you need is kadachat. So it comes to show us that even though things might seem to be bad and appear to be bad, but really it's the biggest blessing of all for all of us.